All right, guys, this is going to be an update video about my nonprofit effort, the Paul Project. And first and foremost, I want to thank everybody that has contributed in some capacity, whether you've participated in the raffles, offered donations in some other form, volunteered time, work, or simply propagated information about Narcan. There's a lot of people that don't even know what Narcan is. Narcan is an opioid antagonist, and you can counter the effects of an opiate or opioid overdose with Narcan. It's incredibly important because when someone overdoses, they go into respiratory arrest, and there's a window where you can actually save them. So for those of you that have been around a drug overdose, you'll see somebody lose color, they get pale, their lips turn bluish purple, and there's still a short interval where they're having shallow breathing. You can put the Narcan in their nose, spray it, and it can save their lives. Addiction is still stigmatized, and it's just really important that we're able to get information out there about what Narcan is and what the life-saving potential of the drug is. The reason I started in the first place is because, as you know, I lost one of my best friends last November. I've lost a lot of people to drug overdoses. My ex-girlfriend Jenny died that way. Paul's death just affected me in a very profound way. He was a brother to me, maybe not a blood brother, but we certainly were there for each other through thick and thin, and it was an incredible loss for me. So I wanted to do something because I was just sick of people I know dying. So many people I know have passed away or have lost their battle to heroin addiction or prescription painkiller addiction, especially with fentanyl out there right now. A lot of people are dying. So I decided to start distributing Narcan for free nationally. Now, when I first came up with the idea, I didn't realize that there were hurdles that I'd have to get over. I'd have to figure out how to circumvent. There's certain states where you can't send Narcan legally in the mail. So that's like the first one. And so I talked to the company that manufactures Narcan, and to buy a double dose box like that, it's $75 in states where you can't get it for free. So there's a lot of states where there's already subsidies and they're handing out boxes of Narcan. California is one of them. And, you get it at methadone clinics, needle exchanges, but there's certain states where it's not free and it's not accessible like that. So my whole thing was to figure out a way to get it to everybody that needs it. I think everybody should have Narcan in their house. If you're a former addict in recovery, if you're in active addiction, especially if you're the parent of somebody that's struggling with addiction, or you're, you're dealing with a friend or spouse or whatever. If you have Narcan in your house, you have the potential to save somebody's life. So the first thing that I had to do after I did those two initial raffles was file with the Secretary of State, get my 501c3 tax exempt status. Once I have that, I'm eligible for subsidies and I can start really executing what I'm trying to do. And I don't take any money from this. I don't even take a cent. I don't have the time to run it myself, so I put it out there that I was looking to have a president for my nonprofit. I've been working with a guy named Joe Hamblin for, 3 or 4 months now. He's been sending people books, blotter. I'm so disorganized. It was really hard for me to do that myself. So now he took over, and, if you fell through the cracks or something, he's been making it right, sending people extra stuff. He's just a really solid, reliable person. And I'm giving him a salary to run it. So he's going to be the president of the company. I'm still looking for a treasurer, somebody that's in charge of, dealing with the money, figuring out where it goes, how to spend it correctly, how to leverage influence, getting celebrity endorsements, the usual suspects, but there's also people you don't know about, and I'll announce that as things progress with it. But for right now, I got Joe to be the president. So he's going to be running the nonprofit. I'm also looking for treasurer, secretary, and vice president. All of those positions, the president, treasurer, secretary, and vice president, will all be paid positions. So if you're interested in working and having a salary for my charity, send an email to rippaulharper@gmail.com. Send your resume. If you've worked, in the nonprofit sector before, that's obviously a big plus. I'm not going to preclude anybody for having felonies. I'm open-minded. I'm willing to give people chances. After that, I'm looking to get a representative for each state. So there's 50 states. I'll probably have international representatives as well. I might start, subsidiary nonprofits outside of the U.S. That's probably down the line. Right now, I'm just so busy with everything that I have going on. I wanted to give the responsibility to somebody I trust, somebody that I know that's solid, and Joe is probably the best person I know that can handle that kind of responsibility. He's very organized. He has that organizational prowess that's required to get such an ambitious project done. And once we have that tax exempt status, we're also eligible for, different fundraising privileges. Like we can have poker nights, we can do fun stuff. Can organize, concerts that, the revenue generated goes towards this effort, etc. So we're waiting for that. I filed with the Secretary of State through LegalZoom. I got the Premier package. It usually takes 6 to 8 weeks, but I'd imagine because of COVID, it's taking a little longer. But, I've paid for it. The wheels are in motion. We have the website up. You can sign up for, to be one of the first people to get the Narcan once we have that tax exempt status. We figure out how to circumvent some of those hurdles. So if you're interested in being a state representative, that's not a paid gig, but the president, which we've already filled, that's paid, salary basis. Vice president, treasurer, and secretary, those are all salary. So you can send your resume again to rippaulharper@gmail.com, and Joe will start doing Zoom and phone interviews with you. But if you want to be a state representative, if you want to volunteer your time, you would be in charge of your state. And even if you can already get Narcan for free in that state, we're still going to send Narcan to people that need it. So I'm just trying to get it in every home that I can. So there's that, like I said, the wheels are in motion. I'm not doing any more charity stuff until I have the tax exempt status. I don't need to at this time. I just want to make sure that the legal side of it is in place and we're ready to go and we can actually accomplish what my vision of it is. Maybe further down the line, I'll get corporate sponsors. I want to see it in every gas station bathroom, every first aid kit, every school. Narcan needs to be everywhere, just like drugs are everywhere. It should be easier to get Narcan than it is to get heroin, and that's just simply not how it is in a lot of places. So that's what I'm trying to do. Secondly, I've released a new album called Mike Virgin. So if you've heard the Mike Virgin story, this is like the definitive version of it. There's a surprise in that album, like a surprise skit with the celebrity guest. If you've heard it, don't tell anybody what the surprise is because you'll kill it for them. It's $6. It's like $5.99. It's just like Drug Stories for Truckers. It's available on Payloads. I'll leave the link below. The Mike Virgin story, I think, is my best story. Now it's in MP3 form, and like I said, it's like the definitive version of that. It's like the best version of it I think exists. I recorded it several years ago, but it's been polished by my friend who's Grammy nominated. Really good producer to work with, and then we have that surprise on it, and I think that I think that you'll appreciate it if you like that story. Since the story deals with pedophilia, my run-in with Mike Virgin, who's pretty much running some like underground pedophile thing. And that's become a hot topic now, you know. I've always said we need to have way, way, way harsher laws for pedophiles. I mean, I think we should kill them, honestly. But it's insane to me that the laws for selling drugs is more severe than pedophilia. I'm not saying that drugs are a good thing. They've certainly ruined my life. They've killed people that I love, but I never sold drugs and I've never bought drugs from someone that didn't want it. I wanted the drugs. I knew they were bad for me. There aren't people smoking crack out there that are under any sort of delusion thinking that it's good for them, you know? So I think it's interesting that the laws are so light for pedophiles, and I think they need to be stronger. I'm going to donate some of the portions of the Mike Virgin album, not all of it, but probably donate, I don't know, half of it, $3 an album, to a nonprofit that deals with victims, survivors of sexual abuse. And I'm also looking to find a nonprofit that's trying to make the penalties for sex offenders a lot harsher than they are right now. So if you know any good nonprofits that you think would be a good fit for what I'm trying to do, I'm just trying to donate the money to them, at least like half of what I'm making. And the link for Mike Virgin will be below. Thank you for everybody that has supported the Paul Project. And if you want to get the new album with a surprise on it, the link will be below. And I will donate some of that to a nonprofit, but I haven't figured out which one yet. So let me know. Thank you guys so much for your support. I will continue to upload things. Patreon is getting flooded with content. I know that I haven't been putting content up as consistently on YouTube. I will try to start doing it more consistently, but just so you know, there's a lot more content on Patreon. I got a family to provide for, and that's what I'm doing. So I appreciate everybody that's put me in that position. I'm not forgetting about my YouTube community. I love you guys, and I appreciate you. Palabra.